Hello! If you're a Linux user but you want the UI of a Macintosh, then you're in the right place. Because in this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make your Ubuntu look just like a Macintosh. After following along with it, this is what you're going to get. Look at the top bar, the Apple icon, the blurred background, the Macintosh dock, the Finder, and if you look carefully, you'll see that the Finder is actually semi-transparent and the things behind it are blurred. And look at this, Macintosh special effects. Minimize, maximize. And look at the macOS Monterey wallpaper. Look at the launch pad. So without further ado, let's get started. So, here we are at a fresh new installation of Ubuntu. Now before you start making any changes, I would recommend you to change the dark or light style in your Ubuntu settings. So just go to settings, and under appearance tab, change the style to what you would like your Mac to look like later. So for example, if you would like a dark looking macOS theme later, you would change this to dark. If you would like a light looking macOS interface later, you would change this to light, because for example, if you change this to dark and you set out to configure a light looking macOS theme, after you've done everything, you'll probably find that some of the windows are still dark. Conversely, if you set this to light and you set out to configure a dark looking macOS interface, after you've done everything, you'll probably find that some of the windows are still light. Okay, now we're going to make it look like a Mac. So to do that, you need to do 4 things. First, you need to get some Macintosh looking themes. Then you need to get some Macintosh looking fonts. Then you need to get some Macintosh looking wallpapers. And finally, you need to get some GNOME shell extensions. Those extensions are going to get you things like Macintosh looking docks, blurry background, blurry login screen, things like that. So let's get started. So to get the themes, we're going to go to a website called gnomelook.org. This is a very good website where you can find a lot of good themes, not just Macintosh, but also Windows, a lot of good looking themes. And I've listed all the themes that we need to use in a text file. So first we're going to install some theme called White Sir. So let's search for that, White Sir. Okay, this is the thing we're going to download, White Sir GTK theme. Okay, and just click download, and depending on whether you want a dark theme or a light theme, you may want to download different variants. Here we're going to download both the dark theme and the light theme, just to demonstrate it. Okay, and next we're going to use macOS Monterey to customize the cursors. So macOS Monterey. Okay, I think it's this one. Let's download that. Okay, then it's icons. Things like Finder, browser settings, things like that. So let's get that. Cupertino Ventura. Cupertino, yeah, I think it's this one, Cupertino icons. Here we go. Yeah, this is the one. Let's download that. Yeah, we're gonna download this thing called Cupertino Ventura.tar.exe. Yeah, we're gonna download that. Okay, now we have all the themes that we need. Now let's open up a terminal and install the themes. So the way GNOME works is that the themes and the icon themes are all stored in 2 hidden folders. One hidden folder is called .themes and the other is called .icons. So just copy those themes and into those folders, and if you don't have those folders, just make them. So I'm just gonna make them. Make the ir.icons.themes. Okay, here we go. We're gonna move the themes into there. Okay. Okay, now we're left with the themes, and let's make a directory. Move all these themes. Actually, let's just okay. Then let's tar xf extract all the files. There might be some errors, just ignore them. It's fine. Then it's macOS Monterey. Okay. Then it's white sir, light, sir, dark. Okay, I think we've extracted everything, so we can remove all the archives, and we're gonna move all these to the icons folder. Actually, we're gonna copy these themes into both the .icons folder and the .themes folder. Okay, so there's this .themes. .themes. Okay, then it's .icons. Okay, now we can remove this folder. Let's check once more what's in the folder. Okay, good. Now we're going to actually use those themes. To set those themes, we actually need a tool called GNOME Tweaks. So let's install that. I think it's GNOME apt install. Yeah, oh, maybe you need to do update first. Okay. Okay, GNOME Tweaks, yeah, it's that. And we're gonna install some extensions after this, so we will need to install another software called, I think it's called GNOME Shell Extensions. Yeah, GNOME Shell Extensions. Okay, now those installations are going to get you two softwares. One is called Tweaks, this one, and the other is Extensions, this one. Okay, so we're gonna use Tweaks first. Now appears. Oh, you cannot change this one. That's because you need an extension to be able to change this one. So we're gonna install that extension now. So just go to extensions.gnome.org. This is the website with a lot of good extensions in it. So let's look for users themes. Yep, this is the extension we're gonna install. Actually, the fastest way to install these extensions is just to click on these icons, but that requires you to set up something. So we're gonna set those up now. So to set these things up, first you need to install extensions in your web browser. Now I'm using Chrome, so for Chrome that extension is called Chrome Web Store. Okay. So for Chrome, the extension that establishes the connection between the GNOME and this website is called, I think it's GNOME Shell Integration. Yeah. For Chrome, you're gonna install this extension. Actually, I've already installed it. So if you haven't installed it yet, just install it. Okay. And that's not enough. You also need to install something on your Ubuntu. I think it's called Chrome GNOME Shell. Yeah. Okay, it's already installed. So yeah. So with those two installed, now you can just turn it on and off like this. If it pops out a dialog, just click install. Okay, now the extension is on, you can use it. So let's check that. Yep, user themes is activated. And now you can change this, yeah. So My recommended settings for these themes is for applications we're gonna use a theme called white or dark. Okay, so here we go. And for cursor we're gonna use macOS Monterey. For icons we're gonna use Cupertino Ventura. Okay, here we go. And once I click on this, you will immediately see some drastic changes in the icons here. See that? Now this will start looking like Mac. Okay. And for shell, we're gonna use a theme called white or dark. See that? Now you see the Apple icon. Okay. These are for the themes. Now we need to install some extensions to actually get things like macOS looking dock, things like that. For the extensions, we're going to install 4 extensions. User themes, we've already installed this one, and we need to install dash to dock. So let's just search for that. Dash to dock. Yeah, it's this extension over here. Just click this button, install, and voila, here we go. We've got the Mac looking dock. Okay, and then to get the blur effects we need 2 extensions. One is called blur my shell, the other is to blur your login screen. So let's install blur. Yeah, here we go. Blur my shell. Install it. Okay. You can immediately, well, actually you cannot immediately see some effects because that requires some extension settings. Now we're gonna install this extension. Okay, we've got all the extensions we need. Now let's actually tweak some settings for the extensions so to make it look like Mac. So for that, you need to search for this app called extensions, or you can also start it from, command line, just GNOME extension app. This will also open up the application. Oh, I forgot a thing. For Mac, these icons are actually on the left, so we're gonna tweak that. So open up Tweaks. Tweaks is the app where you're gonna customize the lookings of your shell. Select your fonts, your appearance, your themes, and we're just gonna, let's go to window title bar. Okay, placement, left, right. Okay, here we go. Just change this from right to left, and you have these icons on the left, just like what you get in Mac. Okay, so let's actually tweak some of the settings. So first is dash to dock. I remember in Mac the icons are actually much larger, so I'm gonna make the icons larger and make the dock. And you're gonna wanna turn on this setting, shrink the dash. Okay, just turn on, and immediately the dash is shrinked. This will start looking like a Mac, and you also want to customize the dash color to make it look more like Mac. Now, here we're gonna just apply the dark theme. If you want a light theme, you can also do that. It's similar, and you also want to customize opacity. Fixed. 80% is a good setting. Another thing to do is to actually disable the default Ubuntu dock, because if you don't do that, sometimes you actually see 2 docks appearing. So to do that, it is also really simple. Just go to extensions, application, and in the built-in applications list, you will find an extension called Ubuntu dock. It is currently enabled. Disable that, and well, this is expected. To get rid of it, you can just to restore it back to normal, just restart your shell. Okay, it's working. And now that Ubuntu dock is disabled, you will no longer see 2 docks. And we also need to add the blur effects. Oh, it's actually blur my shell. Okay, so for this extension, you can actually set the blurry effects for in multiple categories. First, we're gonna blur the dash. So we're gonna turn this on, blur the dash to dot. Immediately, you can see that this is blurred. Now we're gonna want to customize the properties, so to make it look better. We're gonna increase this brightness, and you're gonna want to turn this off so that you can retain the settings you set for dash to dot. And you may want to Sigma controls how blurry it is. In my opinion, 10 is a pretty good number to set. So that's it. Now we have a Macintosh looking dash. Okay. Okay. Oh, you also want to get some blurry effects on your Finder. So for that, it may sometimes crash. If it crashes, just restart the shell. Actually, I'm not expecting that to happen. Okay, here we go. Extensions. Still search for this. And where my shell applications. Now you're gonna want to add some applications to the whitelist. So the whitelist is basically a list of windows to blur, just like it says. And we're gonna add a window. We're gonna add this, and immediately you'll see that this is blurred, right? This is a pretty good effect. And if you see here, this is org.gnome.nautilus. This is the default file manager for Ubuntu, so this is good. Okay, for opacity, I found 240 to be a pretty good number, but you can also set other numbers if you'd like. Okay, so I'm gonna set to 40 here. Okay. Now we're actually going to get some Mac-looking dynamic wallpapers, like macOS Monterey. For that, we're going to go to GitHub and install those wallpapers. I remember it's called Linux dynamic wallpapers. Search for that. Yeah, here we go. This is the software to install. To install this, yeah, you see, there are a lot of wallpapers and you can select from them. Installation. I actually would not recommend you to install it the way it is recommended on GitHub. I would rather install it from method 2 for experts to save time and data, because this is actually much faster. So first we're gonna, first we're gonna download the GitHub repo. So just open up your terminal and so make a directory called Linux dynamic. Actually, just clone the Git repository. Just clone it here. Clone it somewhere. Oh, didn't install Git. Install Git. Oh, wrong password. Okay, install Git and clone the repo. Here we go. Okay, clone. This, there are a lot of wallpapers in it. They're actually providing wallpapers from different generations of macOS, like Monterey, Big Sur, Catalina. You see that? There are a lot of dynamic wallpapers in it. So this would actually be pretty large. I think it's about 2 gigabytes or 3 gigabytes, something like that. So it's actually going to take a while. Okay, so the download is finally complete. And after you clone the repo, just use this shell script to install the wallpapers. So cd into that Linux cd. Wait. Oh. Oh, it's cloned into Linux dynamic wallpapers. So just cd into Linux dynamic wallpapers. And there's a shell script called install.h. Just bash run that. So sudo dash install.shell. Okay, they're installed. Now we can set those wallpapers in the background. So just change our background. It's going to take a while to load all the wallpapers. It's still loading. Okay, I think everything should. Okay, here we go. This is the wallpaper from macOS Monterey. So let's just use that. And immediately we have an Ubuntu desktop that looks really like Mac. Now you may notice something still not very pretty, so we're going to change this. The top bar is a bit black, so we're going to change that. For that, you're actually going to change the settings for an extension, which is Blur My Show. So just go to settings and general. Change just increase the brightness, and immediately you will see this is much better, right? Okay, so basically that wraps it up. Now we have one more thing. To actually be able to expand the folders like you would do in Mac, you need to change some settings in the file manager. So just go to the preferences of your file manager, and you will see there's a setting called expandable folders in list view. We're going to turn this on, and we're going to decrease the size. Okay, now you can see these little triangles. You can click on them and you can expand your folders just like you do in Mac. See that? Okay, now there's one final thing to do, which is to blur your login screen. To do that, it is very simple. Just go to extensions and enable this extension, control blur effect on lock screen, and tweak some of the settings. So adjust sigma. The larger the sigma, the more blurry it will be. I find 27 to be a pretty good number for this setting. So just set that, and now if you lock your Ubuntu, you will see that this is blurred. So that's good. So now we have a macOS looking Linux. Now earlier I mentioned that to make your Ubuntu truly look like Mac, you also need to download some macOS looking fonts, but this is actually non-trivial because macOS uses Helvetica Neue and San Francisco fonts, which are protected by Apple copyrights. So one workaround is that you download some fonts that look really like them from the web, and then you install them into your Ubuntu. So I'm not going to show you how to actually find those fonts, but I am going to show you how to, after you have found those fonts and downloaded them, how to install those fonts and use those fonts. So one thing to remember is that in Ubuntu, all the fonts are stored in this folder, user share fonts. If you cd into this directory, you will see that there are a lot of fonts stored in it. If we list out some of the folders in it, for example X11, for example true type, you will see that there are a lot of fonts like Deja Vu, a lot of fonts in it. And so after you have downloaded some fonts from the web, like you've got some TTF, TTC files, just copy those files into this directory, user share fonts. And after that, you can open up GNOME Tweaks application and open the fonts tab, and you can set the fonts here, like interface text, document text. You can select your fonts from this list, and you can set your fonts. Up to now, we've been demonstrating how to get a macOS looking dark themed Ubuntu, but what if you want a light theme? Well, you can also do that. So for a light theme, we can also just set the theme from GNOME Tweaks, but before that we actually need to change it back to Ubuntu, because if you directly change things in GNOME Tweaks like this, if you directly change this to white or dark, some of the windows will still be dark, like this, because I guess this is because Ubuntu settings actually sets sort of the base profile, the base settings for your applications, and these themes actually just override those. So to change this from dark to light, you actually need to make the base settings to be light first, and then you override the settings. So we just select the light settings in settings, and now we can use GNOME Tweaks to change those settings back to macOS style. So applications, now we select white sur dark, white sur light, and cursor is still macOS Monterey, icon still Cupertino, Ventura, Shell, white sur light, and okay, that basically makes it a light theme macOS. But we also need to change the dock. So open up the extension settings, find dash the dock, tweak some of the settings. Basically we just need to change the dash color from black to white. Just change it to white, just like that. And voila, we have a white theme macOS. Finally, if you want to have the special effects when you maximize or minimize a window on Mac, you can also do that with a special extension. So just still go to extensions.gnome.org and search for Compiz. You find an extension called Compiz like Magic Lamp Effects. You install this extension, and after you've installed it, now when you minimize a window, when you maximize a window, voila, just like Mac. So that basically wraps up today's video tutorial. I hope you find this video tutorial helpful, and if you like it, please hit the like button, and see you next time.